It's the Optics Podcast, baby. Glad you tuned in. Got your host, Thank Me Later, and Too Stupid to Win. Might be coming up. Session as soon as you begin. Start out king of the street, then lock in iconic in. Welcome to Upland. Grab your Optics, man. On your way in the door, hit you with $4,000. Get to buying and gripping, then to selling and flipping. Over to moving and shucking. I'm Scrooge McDucking in Optics.
Welcome, fellow Uplanders, to another episode of the Optics Podcast. I am your host, Too Stupid to Win, and off of his week hiatus, joined as always by Thank Me Later. How we doing this evening, brother?
Great day in Texas, man. Loving it.
Great day. Great day in Ohio. No, it's going to be 8 degrees here in about 30 minutes.
Is it warmer there? It is currently -1 here.
What?
Oh, wait. Hold on. I forgot. Our house is on the commie Canadian numbers, so I guess it's like 31. Okay.
Oh, all right. Yeah, it will be 8 degrees here shortly.
No, my fiance doesn't. She's lived here but she doesn't convert any of it. So I've just set all my things. I think this is it's her numbers. Celsius, yeah.
Anyway.
So, that's nippy.
Absolutely. And I've been cheap and haven't bought a snowblower the past few years because we just haven't had the snow that we used to have. And boy, it dumped on us this week and it sucked without a snowblower.
Oh, you get hit with that? I'm a little jealous, man. Everyone's posting all these pictures of snow. Like, damn, I miss the snow, actually. I like the snow.
Oh, yeah. It's fun, and the kids running around is fun, so it's good. Absolutely. But last week, TM filled in for you, and we had a whole clean episode. No Franklin bomb, nothing.
What?
Yeah, dead serious.
Dang.
He put on the...
Good on you, TM. Appreciate it, man.
He put on the professional hat and put in a quality episode, so...
Dapper lad, that TM.
Yeah. So this is our first, this is episode number 115, but this is the first one that we're streaming live on YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. So this is something we said that we were going to look forward to doing this year, and we'll be making some tweaks along the way. Still trying out a couple of different platforms to get the whole streaming down. It's kind of cool that we're using StreamYard right now, but I don't like that we can't do the interaction that we do on Zoom, but I don't know. We'll figure it all out.
I mean, we have the chat. I mean, that's mostly what we use anyway, but
yeah.
And I mean, the idea would be that we get so large. I mean, we have these cool backstage passes, but you got to figure out, because like you can see, like if people, can you see like the whole backstage, like everyone just hanging out? But they can't see each other. Because you just kind of like...
Right, they can't see each other, so they don't know. Yeah. You're in a bubble, and you can watch what we're doing.
No, they need they need like a green room. That'd be so cool. Like all the people like in the backstage are in like one room together. They can see video, and they got the chat. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah. I'll keep looking around and finding a service. And if anybody out there knows a real great service to do that, please let us know. And before we do get too far into this episode, we do always have the disclaimer for the views, information, and opinions expressed on the Optics Podcast are solely those of myself, Thank Me Later, and any guests of the podcast, and do not necessarily reflect those of Upland Me, Inc. We are not employed by or provided insider information from the Upland team. All discussions about properties to buy and sell are not financial advice. Please do your own research first. So that's out of the way.
Nice.
Let's see here. So what we have lined up for this episode, we'll talk about, we'll go over the numbers from last week. I didn't get any updated numbers for this week, but you weren't with us last week, so get your reaction to those. We got the LA release coming up. They haven't announced when it's going to be or what date, but you have the terminals coming up, and that should be here, I would think, in another week or so. We also have the reduction from 17.3 to 14.7% announced. So your earnings are going to see a decrease. a whole overall 2.5%. So we'll get into that, talk about what that means. We'll hit our thoughts of what you need to do, prepare for a new city. And we're definitely not taking some of TM's advice that he posted in the chat about top 5 things to do to get ready for a new city. He has a different approach than some of us, but that's okay.
Some
and then
of them
you had
were
a couple
almost valid. like it started out ridiculous. He has some valid ones, but
yeah. And then you had a couple of things you wanted to touch on too, so you'll keep that for a surprise for us.
For sure, you got some goodies.
Yeah, 1 and 2, he was a little over the edge on, and then he brought it in. Then he brought it in. Let's see here. So, numbers from last week. Everybody that did listen last week, we did interview Dizzy and talk about his side of the story of buying out Envenom, and we covered that, but we also did the oh wow, that is interesting. Still figuring out the new platform, so I gotta have give me a minute.
All right. I'm curious. I wonder if we could stream. I was like, what if we went live in when like, because I can go. Could I go into like whatchamacallit in Discord and then like share my screen? Like, what if I just shared my screen in Discord?
I think you can do that.
You don't think I can do that?
No, I said I think you can.
Let's see. Oh, do we retire all the chat rooms and hold on? Let's see here. Team Central. Jeez, oh Pete. Oh, they consolidated this. Okay.
Yeah.
Jeez.
So.
Been out of the loop.
So here's the big thing. I don't know if you saw these numbers last week.
Yeah.
But look at that. About 200 million OPEX left to a billionaire.
Oh my goodness. I heard this guy's like buying up all kinds of exclusives and stuff. Like he's getting out there. He's doing some crazy stuff.
Yeah, picking up landmarks, buying exclusives, ultra rares, doing the thing there. But
these are just crazy numbers.
Yeah, I fell all the way to 79. But
ooh.
Yeah, and
Austin
this year,
Teddy, what? There's a man there. Oh, I love when the top when you are new. Wait. Who the heck is Locky?
That's Locke. We discussed that last week too. He got an Upland name change, so LACH is now Locky.
Oh, LACH. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So he was number 8 before, and
got you.
Yeah.
Okay, so he actually dropped.
Yeah, he dropped.
Austin Teddy though with the 10. Yeah, where am I?
Oh,
am I still
where
top
are
50?
you? Well, we were talking about what it takes to be the top 100. You're number 27.
27. Okay, so top 30. I'm okay with that. Man, look at this.
Yeah.
Auction House. Wait, is Auction House somebody's name or like is that an Upland account?
That is somebody's Upland. That's
right,
a name. I don't know if that's the auction house itself and that's what the value of the properties they have in the auction house, or that was actually a player. I'm unsure of that.
Okay. But dang, there's 2 others in the top 35 that are those really new, like Timberwolf 25 dropping 84 mil and Skittles dropping 80. Like, geez, old Pete.
Well, as you can see, the top 100 though, they just had to be outside the top 100 to get new, so they had to be under 33 million.
33 million. What the hell is going on? Wait, do you have like the last time we reported numbers?
Yeah, that's on the left. from
No,
October.
like like before, like because there was a pretty big gap, right? Like the last, because that's like still, yeah, it's been a while for that one, so it's up 10 million. But like, do we have one from like I don't know 6 months ago, 8 months ago? I thought it was like 10 million not too long ago. That was like, yeah, if you want to, you got to drop 10 grand.
Yeah, I'm looking to see if I have. Ooh, how do you like this? I have stats from February 18th, 2021.
11 months ago.
Yeah.
Perfect. Let's see. Let's see what 11 months in this game has changed. Oh, man. I was number 5. But look at that. I was only 40 million. Damn. I grew like 45 million. I didn't put any money in last year.
Nice. That's all sales and
Yeah, sales and
interest.
flips and interest. Holy shit. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, so man, 40 million used to get you. Okay, well now, okay, so this is funny. 30 million, 31 million was top 10. 31 million barely gets you into top 100 now.
Yeah, you're not even in. You need 33.4 and change to get into the top 100.
So the number, wow, that's bonkers. So whoa, we're at less than 6 million. It only took you.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that seems laughable at this point.
Right.
By Cardano. Look, that was like by Cardano's first. He's. There's a couple that's really interesting to see that have grown fairly significantly who have kept up with it.
Yeah. And we talked last week, to be a top 1% player in Upland, you need 1.5 million UpX, and that will put you in 1500th place. And if you had a cool,
so are you saying there's 150,000 active players? Is that where we're at?
150,000 property owners, and that was a couple weeks ago. They said that in one of the in one of their streams, or okay, I think Edon said it when he was on.
That's interesting. So 1.5 to be in the top 1%. I mean, that's fair. Like,
yeah,
that's a good chunk of change.
Right. And then if you have a cool million, you'll be in position 2020.
Dang.
Yep.
Yeah, so I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah, it is. And then here's just ridiculousness.
Man, yeah. Do we have this from 11 months ago?
Yep.
See, now I've still got a good ranking here. I'm still in the top 20. Mindex, man. Look at Mindex just crushing that. What are you buying, Mindex? Man, up 34 spots. Chicago. Yeah, that's smart. Is there still Chicago available? Is Chicago sold out yet? What? No? Yes? No?
No.
No what? Yes. Nope, sold out. Okay, sold out.
Sold out.
Sold out. I assume there's got to be Nashville left. There's got to be KC left.
Nashville and KC, they are left. That's correct.
Okay. Presumably everything else is sold out. Is that true? Jeez.
Yes.
You guys
so
are
this was last February. TM has never let go, but he's added like 8,000 properties since last February.
I mean, just impressive. Honestly, it's a crazy the amount of properties now just being gobbled up. I was debating. So like we're going to be talking a little bit about LA here coming up. And I had several million that I had, made from recent sales. And I was debating. I was like, man, I'm going to have a good, 5 to 7 million for LA. But then I was like, well, wait, what else is available? Like, what should I be buying now? And it's really interesting. I realized I don't know, like, I know the San Francisco market pretty well. And it's kind of interesting. I didn't think it was ever going to get to a point. When we started this game, however many years ago now, I really thought, I was like, man, I'm gonna be able to keep up with all this. Like, it's gonna be no big deal. Like, I'll have this market, I'll figure out. I can't. I don't know. I don't think anybody realistically could keep up with all of the cities, which I think is what they're going for. It's really interesting, like, to understand the value of a neighborhood, of an individual location. Like, you really need to be dialed into a city. And I think as we start to grow, and especially once eventually it goes internationally, you're going to see that people have to focus. Like, I'm going to be dead focused on San Francisco, and then the offshoots, Fresno, Oakland, Berkeley, Bakersfield. Probably try to dabble in LA, but like, I really think I'm just going to concentrate on the West Coast. I can't keep up with the other markets. It's insane.
Yeah, and you're gonna sooner or later you're gonna have tools that they have out there with the analytic tools. You're gonna get even more and more money coming in. I don't know if Upland will develop it, or you'll have other people that are able to develop it, but you'll need some serious real estate analytical tools if you want to be big in the property aspect of Upland. There's going to be so much to do with the introduction of cars, with the block explorer shops, the decor shops, the buildings, the construction. There's going to be so much to do, and it's going to filter out like the real world. You'll have your little niches, and you'll have your little communities. And that's the big thing, is niche that yeah. Thanks. That's and it's about finding the community and finding that group that's good, that you get along with, and to develop an area.
Oh yeah, for sure. And like, I mean, I'm already seeing it in the secondary. So when you look at like other assets, right? You have block explorers, NFLPA, and decorations are pretty much the primary. There's other, the spirits and things, but like, those being the three main secondary assets to properties, it's really interesting. I don't know value of any of the NFLPA legits. Like, I'm not in that market. I have tons of them, but I really don't know the value of them. It's kind of weird, but like block explorers, like, I feel like I have a pretty good handle on. The decorations, I'm trying to get a handle on. So like, for me, like, I know that those are areas that I'm going to probably focus on more. And then San Francisco and some of the West Coast cities. Like, it's been really interesting to go through and like look at different neighborhoods and what's being built. There is so much being built. It's really cool to just kind of like go around and see what people are doing in different neighborhoods, and like clusters of buildings, like, especially when they're coordinated, it looks really good. And then figuring out, I've been buying a lot of pre-built property. So that's been in my property game. Pre-built properties is kind of what I've been looking at, and buying them for 100 to 200,000 is kind of what, and I feel like that's a good deal. We were discussing this in the pre-show of like, I was trying to figure out what the cost per spark hour was about, and I think we came up to somewhere between 70 UpX and 100 UpX, I think, is the going rate. Was that right, or was it I think it was like, yeah, I think that was it. 29 was the offer that you had for your 8 spark, was like 30.
It was
now.
85,000 UpX for 2 weeks or 75 US dollars for 2 weeks.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's interesting. Like some of these houses that take thousands of spark hours, I go, man, I just wait for them to get built and then I buy them pre-built. It's worked out so far, I think. I mean, they're in like weird places sometimes. Like I've been buying a lot in Fresno. Actually, I figure if you're going to need buildings to eventually store assets, right? If that's kind of like an end game, why not start buying up houses now? And then especially if you could rent them, like, yeah.
So that's kind of a shift in the strategy of what you've been doing lately. And are you very aggressive right now with LA looming on coming out here soon?
Yeah. So honestly, like that was my kind of strategy shift for LA. Every time a major city comes out, there's usually a dip. Like people want to start liquidating. They want to go into the new cities. It's a great opportunity. That's probably my number one LA strategy is, or really any new city release strategy is look at the existing market and go for good deals. For me, I would rather get a good property in an established neighborhood, an established city, over a net new property. Now, that being said, I obviously still have some budget. I think it'd be interesting. Like if I don't think like percent of net worth is a good way to do it. I think it's just a budget thing. I think for most of the probably top players, I probably say $1 million or $2 million.
I'm thinking some of the people are going to come with 5 to 10 million.
Oh, well, some people are going to come with fucking 100. Oh, I tried.
22 minutes in.
Yeah, I think some people are going to come in with 50 million plus.
Oh yeah.
I think that there's going to be some heavy hitters, but I would say like the average established player, 2 to 5 million would probably be a good number. Like if your net worth is over like 30 million, I would try to bring 3 to 5 for LA.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like if you're trying to aggressively grow your portfolio, I think it's definitely worth it. But I probably spent 2 or 3 million buying up existing properties that I think are people trying to sell to get that money. So
right. Yeah, we'll jump into that a little more. So it was more of an opportunity, and then your new vision for where you think the game's going to go, that you're starting to buy these pre-built buildings.
Yeah, I think it's just a good deal. Like I crunch the numbers, unless I'm missing something, like they're sold out areas. They're like well-established neighborhoods with lots of buildings. So the other thing to keep in mind, man, the plus and minus of doing this is like I love being able to share like strategy, but also I'm like, damn, I'm giving you all my secret sauce. Like you want to know how I grew my portfolio 45 million last year. Like the other thing is if you're looking at buying pre-built structures in sold out neighborhoods that have a ton of development. So I wouldn't buy if it's just like in a weird neighborhood with no other buildings around it, probably not. But in Fresno, people are building all kinds of stuff. And so you got to keep in mind when they come out with the neighborhood ratings, you could fall into a collection very easily. If there's a lot of buildings already built there, that means there's going to be tenants. That's going to help that score, which means a unremarkable, neighborhood could easily start scoring in these neighborhood rankings and get a multiplier in and of itself. Which the multiplier is nice, but I think that would just increase your value. And when renting comes out, being able to rent in all these places.
And that's something that hasn't been talked about a lot lately is the neighborhood collections. I mean, that
Yeah.
that spun that spun a lot of sellouts of neighborhoods. I mean, that was just crazy. Neighborhoods were selling out daily when all of a sudden, that was brought up in the game, and now eh, it was just one after another, and it was just mint, 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 mint. This one sold out, and it was just trying to buy up as much. So the possibilities of what it was going to be. And it is nice to see that these developments are going on, and you have teams out there that you can actually hire off market, and they'll come in. You just set up the initial structures, and then they throw their spark at it for a fee, of course, and they develop that whole area for you.
Yeah, I mean it's you talking UCC? Is that what UCC does?
I don't know UCC.
You down with UCC? Yeah, you know me.
Yeah.
Sam says he uses UCC. I think they just had a big merger with what's the other project I was involved in with my boy Jaden? He's been sending me all kinds of MFH UCC. Oh wait, I don't know if this is public. Never mind. Ignore what I just said.
Don't rewind. Don't play it back. You said nothing.
I said nothing.
So yeah, using a group like UCC, that's good to develop an area. I got some slums in the southeast side of San Francisco. So
there's no such thing as slums in San Francisco.
That's true.
I don't think there's a bad neighborhood in San Francisco. I think they will all hit a neighborhood. Well, that's not true. Because there's a couple weird neighborhoods where it's like single player owned, like Peralta Hill, I'm thinking of, or Peralta, whatever, that Labs 3D owns like 90% of. And even like I'm a big holder in Apparel City. And if you own Apparel City properties, give me a shout out. Although, because I've offered stupid money on every single one of the properties there. So I'm sure you already know that I want those properties. But yeah, like those probably won't hit the collection status because like I can't develop all those and I'm not going to. I might develop like one or two from a marketing perspective, and like Labs is never going to build out all of Peralta. In fact, Labs was building in Apparel City. I just saw him building a couple apartments there. So who knows?
Yeah. And I mean, the floor in San Francisco right now is 45,000 UpX, give or take.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think everything that I had at 50,000 got sold. TM actually was buying them. Thanks for a heads up. You couldn't be like, hey man, you're at the floor. You might want to raise it. You're like, gobble, 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 gobble. Like, do you need more properties really?
No, he doesn't. The first part of, is admitting that you have a problem. So,
hey man, TM, say what you want, man. He's gonna probably be among the first Upland millionaires. So,
oh, absolutely, no doubt about that. And did you know that the Alamo Square floor is higher than the Financial District floor in San Francisco?
Get out of town.
And actually, the Alamo Square floor is down too because it's at 1.8 million UpX. But to get into the Financial District in San Francisco, you need 1.65 million UpX.
Oh, is it one of those janky ones though?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They're super small.
Well, it's not only that they're small; they're base value.
Odd shape. Oh, okay.
Remember, there's like so. For those who don't know, in San Francisco, the financial district has very similar to how there was, when a collection is released, you get that multiplier. Well, there's a handful of financial district properties that were bought before the multiplier for the cost per up square was implemented, and their base value is like trash. So your interest on it, which at this point doesn't really matter because, it's so high value, but the interest on them were garbage and they were being passed around like, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, a city bike, just like anyone. It was like a hot potato is actually a better analogy. And so, yeah, you got to watch out. There's a couple and they're small and they're not great values like at all. But yeah.
Now, the interesting thing is, yeah, well, Manhattan's at 200,000
Man,
UpX.
man, I'll admit when I'm wrong, man. Manhattan has hit so much harder than I was expecting. Like so quick too. It's unbelievable how quick and how like man, every property I've had there, I've made stupid money on. I really don't even have that much left in Manhattan, which is fine by me because honestly, like I said, my strategy, West Coast, I'm looking forward to the LA release. It's going to be probably my second city behind San Francisco, honestly. I'll probably be, well, San Diego will be a big one for me too. I love San Diego.
Yeah, I didn't get as much of Manhattan as I really wanted to, and I was at a spot where I couldn't put more into the game, but
Yeah.
I still grabbed, the areas that I wanted, along Central Park West, down in the financial district, and over in Tribeca. So,
No, you definitely got some good buys there. I think the winner of New York has got to be Dizzy, right?
oh, him in Harlem.
Harlem, man. I mean, if the floor is 250,000,
He sold a lot of his Harlem though. So,
oh, he did.
yeah, he was selling it for like 65,000.
Still, that's
Oh yeah, it's for what he bought it for. It's still great.
yeah. He sold too early. Yeah, we all feel that. TM1 Manhattan. Nah.
Well,
I don't
and
know.
you know what? A year from now, when the floor in Manhattan's 600,000 UpX, we're gonna say, "Oh, we sold too early at 200,000." So, eh, and I'm with you. I'm surprised how quickly Manhattan overtook San Francisco for the floor, and that makes it kind of interesting for LA. So LA is very different than New York. New York's made up of the 5 boroughs. Manhattan was a sought after borough, but LA is very expansive. It even has 5 cities. It circles 5 different cities. It's just weird how it was constructed and built. And, Beverly Hills is by itself. And it's just weird how it's set up. So that makes me wonder how they're going to release LA. Is it just going to be a free for all? Is it going to open up wide like that? Or are they going to open up the north section, then the south, or
Yeah, that's a good one. Because I mean, I feel like, yeah, you got Beverly Hills. Is Anaheim in that? Is Anaheim close enough to be included in that? Like,
it could go either way.
yeah, like, yeah, Sunset Boulevard, man.
Depends on the map that they use, and there's going to be so much to go after, which is
Oh, yeah.
crazy in itself too. You got the celebrity houses, you got the music labels, you got the production studios, you have the restaurants, the nightclubs, the music venues. There's just the colleges, the streets. There's no real where to start.
Yeah, well, I'll probably do a similar thing like I did for what was that East Coast release recently? Not Brooklyn. Was it Brooklyn? No. What's the other one? The other borough. What's the borough? Bronx.
The Bronx.
Is Bronx?
Yeah.
Yeah, where I'll honestly like I'll probably just whatever node TM and crew is going for. That's probably what I'll do. That's just it worked really well for me in the Bronx, and so honestly, I'll probably do that to start with, and then I'll go buy up some cheap properties if I can. But I don't want to try and find.
No.
I don't have the time or the resources to like go find all these celebrity houses. Yes, absolutely. You do that, like you can definitely make bank. That's just not my strategy, but I would highly recommend for the LA release. If you're going to participate, so like if we're talking LA strategy, so okay, let's say you signed up, you're like, yep, I'm gonna do LA release. Yep, I got my 3 million. Okay, now what? Right? Is it there? I'm assuming it's a vanilla launch. They usually do the big cities vanilla.
they haven't said. I'd be very surprised if it wasn't a vanilla launch.
Yeah. So vanilla launch, I mean, you're going to have the people that are going after what I would consider obvious collections, i.e., Sunset Boulevard. If Beverly Hills is a neighborhood, like Beverly Hills, if that's not a collection, assuming I don't know how big Beverly Hills is, to be honest, it's too fancy.
But Beverly Hills is a city in itself.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. Like, is it a neighborhood size? Like, Beverly Hills, I have no idea how big it is.
Yeah, because let's see here. Beverly Hills, Culver City, West Hollywood, Universal City, and San Fernando are the cities that LA circles. Now, Upland could include them. They don't have to follow it verbatim. And you know that they're going to be part of the LA release at some point in time. And I think with the LA release, we're going to see such a wide variety, even a bigger variety in pricing than even Chicago.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. How they do the pricing. If they're gonna, because you need some value properties, but it's LA. So, I mean, they try to do it based off of real world prices. I think New York's more expensive than LA, and San Francisco, in theory, is more expensive than LA. I thought as well.
Yeah, I'm not sure on the San Francisco LA comparison, but there's about 500,000 resident properties in LA itself, and they're about just under $900,000 if you look at it in the real world. For the average median price is about $900,000 for a home in LA.
Yeah, I guess that's interesting. I mean, LA, because you got the actual like proper city with all the skyscrapers and stuff, eh?
Yeah, you got downtown, and LA's got a strange downtown because it's not as active at night like other major cities.
Oh yeah, where's the active scene in LA?
Not like in the, they got stuff like in the hub of downtown. It's on the outskirts of downtown.
House parties? Is it just like house parties? Everyone just goes to like these richy mansions and party in the hills, whatever that means. That's it.
Yeah.
That's the thing people say. I have to go back and watch Beverly Hills 90210. Get caught up on all the lingo.
You have to go back, so that means you watched it the first time around.
No comment. I'm going to plead the fifth on that one.
Yeah. So if we were to do a top five things for a new city release.
Ooh, top 5 things for a new city release. Are we doing any particular order? I can't do an order. I can give you like 5 random things.
All right, we can do 5 random things. So
like they're the top 5. I just don't know, like, number 1, it's going to vary. Like, but here's 5 things you should do related to a new city.
In no particular order.
1, for me, you want to alternate? I'll do one, you do one?
Sure.
All right. So for me, number 1 thing is buy up people selling to liquidate. So watch out for liquidation sales. Watch out for people trying to get rid of already established solid properties in existing cities. Honestly, that's probably one of my top tips is like new city means new opportunities in existing cities.
Yeah, and it's surprising because the floor in San Francisco was about 28 properties from hitting 100,000 UPX, and then LA got released, and then the bottom just fell out already. It dropped close to 40,000 UPX, and then it started climbing back up to where it's sitting now at 45,000 UPX. So there's a lot of deals to be had because people are trying to get that capital raised, and I decided that I'd sell personally about 25 to 30 properties at the floor just to give me a little bit of extra cash to be ready. And that's just bare minimum. I'm not doing any of my higher properties Are are you listing?
Honestly, I haven't. I haven't listed anything new in a long time. I've been taking down my listings. So things that were up historically, I leave up. I sell. I don't. I'm trying to think. I really have not been selling anything new actively. Like it's just random stuff that I put for like a million UpX a year ago, just because whatever, and it's just selling. And so it's just like, okay, somebody's gonna buy my stuff for a million UpX, I'll take it. But so you're actually actively like, what kind of stuff are you selling and for how much?
Right now I'm selling stuff that I picked up for about 4,500 UpX, and I'm putting it up for 45,000, and I've sold about 10 properties or so.
Yeah, no, that's pretty good. I mean, because you think about the multiplier. I mean, a 10x multiplier. Because if you bought it for 4,500, you sell it for 45,000. If you look at it strictly from a multiplier perspective, like for someone to make 10x off that, they have to sell it for 450,000, which I feel like the floor is going to be way down from that. Now, for them to make the same 40,000, obviously they only have to move it up to 80,000. But like again, if you're talking strictly floor, could take a while. But based on what you said recently, of like before LA, we were like a couple dozen properties away from, ooh, we got a streamer. Sorry, I'm squirrel. Look at that. Like the little banner streaming. Ooh, that's so cool. Before LA, we were hitting, we were a couple dozen sales away from 6-figure floors, which is crazy to think about. Because I remember like people balking at Alamo Square being 6-figure. I mean, I sold a dozen properties there for 100,000 a piece, and it was just like people were like, "Oh my gosh, that's such a premium." And now it's like that's going to be the floor for any property, which I think is awesome.
Yeah, and people were thanking us like, "Hey, thank you so much for talking me out of selling this property or that property." Um, you know, we talked them out of it, and they're like, they 10x, 100x some of their stuff, which was crazy. But they're still getting out now, and we're like, you're still getting out kind of early,
Yeah, I mean, I like you've said this at a couple different shows. Your what's it? Your rule of three. So like you buy 3 of anything, and then
Yep.
you try and sell one quick for profit. Wait, what is it? Give me
But you got
your
one.
rule of 3.
You get one to keep for the long hold. You have one to buy and sell when you have the first FOMO, or your first real big surge on it, and then you have a second one to sell a couple years down the road when the prices have really increased.
Yeah. Okay. So short term, long term, medium term, essentially.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I really like that. Like, I definitely would not liquidate entire anything at this point, but I'm very supportive of as soon as you can sell your properties to cover, like let's say you're just rolling through each new city. As soon as you can sell the properties, like if you can sell a third of your properties to cover the entire cost of what you spent in that city, do it. Like, which that means you probably only need about a 3x, right? So as soon as it hits like 3 to 5x, I would sell like a third, right? Boom. And because at that point, you've now paid for that entire city launch. You're in the clear. And then I would, because now you have like, let's say you start with 3 million, right? You invest 3 million, you sell a third of it for 3 million again. So now you have 3 million, you bring in the next city, and you still have potentially 6 million in this other city of assets. I wouldn't liquidate all of it, but then as you start to grow your portfolio, then you're like, okay, well, I'll go back and liquidate maybe another, third or a little bit of each other asset, but I would try to keep a third of those I like that for long term because, there's no reason for you to, especially once you get to a certain portfolio size, there's no reason, and it would be very difficult to fully liquidate a given city or area. So I like that, the kind of the three mentality: short term, medium term, long term.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's always good to follow. And something I was thinking about while you were talking is, there's about 100,000 plus active users on Upland daily. And if there's only 500,000 properties in LA, that could sell out pretty quick. If everybody's hungry at LA, that's five a person.
Five a person. That doesn't sound like a lot because
No.
Disney and TM are taking 5,000 each. Like,
Right?
They cray.
Well, I mean, you got your other big property buyers and your big money spenders.
Nobody
they'll be
else.
Going.
Oh, do they even listen to the podcast? They don't get shout outs unless they tell me that they listen to the podcast. Does K Twice listen to the podcast?
I don't know.
Does MJC listen to
MJC used to.
MJC used to. MJC is legit, actually. I like MJC.
Yeah.
I think he just who was I doing some work with earlier? Oh no, it was Boulder. Oh yeah, my boy Boulder. We were doing some cool stuff earlier this week, getting in that BE fun. Shout out to Boulder.
There you go.
He's gonna have some UpX for LA for sure.
Yeah. Now, anything else on buying up liquidation and any strategy behind that? Or are you ready to move on to number 2?
All right, number 2. What you got for us?
All right, number 2. We have. Do you even want to buy in that city?
What? That can't be a thing.
Why not?
How is that a thing?
Because I did not want to buy in Alameda, so you got to evaluate that. So you could take advantage of scooping up what you're saying in number 1, buy up the liquid floor. So
well, that was the whole thing is, if you're not going to buy the liquidation. What else? Okay, that's so binary. Either you are or you're not. If you're not going to do it, okay, fine. What if you're not going to do it? Do you have another tip besides buy the liquidation?
I was just trying to tie it back into yours. That's all.
Yeah, exactly. Don't try and pigtail off of mine. Get your own.
I thought that's what we do. We play off of each other for this show.
Maybe, but not this top 5. You got to come up with something original.
All right.
Tell me what you would do then. If you say, well, okay, I don't want to buy it, because what else you can do besides buy liquidation?
All right. I'll take the easy road out then.
Okay.
Research the neighborhoods or get with a group that does a bunch of mass research and find out where you want to target.
Yeah, I would say that's a big one. So let's assume, like, if you're preparing for a new city launch, it's because you want to be in that city. Shocker. Prep. So you have two kind of options, like you said, like personal prep versus like team prep. Like, so, and I honestly I would almost put that as two different things, to be fair, but that's fine. Because you have, if you as an individual, like every city, it's really cool to see, like, there's certain buildings that mean something to some people. There's like celebrity homes. There's, these appeared in movies and TV and all kinds of stuff. Like researching those just for like personal, like proper, like I really like very specific, like this is the address I want. I know you've done this a couple times. Unfortunately, I don't think they've worked out.
No, they haven't.
But so you have that kind of like individual, very targeted, here's a list of my top properties and here's why.
I even got to the point where I reached out to other people and said, here, target this one. I had like 10 people targeting and struck out on all 10. It was bad.
That one was really bad. So yeah. So, if you have a list of like specific properties, that's one thing you want to do. The next thing is collections. So in a vanilla release, the big thing is, Can you score an ultra rare? Can you score an exclusive, right? So you're looking at neighborhoods, you're looking at roads, you're looking at unique things that might be a standout for that city. This is super fun. I think it's one of the more fun aspects of a big city release in vanilla mode is the rampant speculation on collections. LA, like Sunset Boulevard. I will almost certainly try for Sunset Boulevard. I think that like that would be super cool. I'm sure there's other like wherever the Walk of Fame is. Like there's so many iconic things in LA that it's going to be nuts. Neighborhood streets. So that's kind of like again, if you're going as like an individual, like an individual buyer, like there, like those are the things you need to do. The other thing, which to me is almost, in fact, I'm going to use it as my number 3 because I think it's legitimately different. Your research and target properties is fair because, again, you have your individual, you have your streets, you have your collections, you have all kinds of stuff. But I'm going to put my number 3 as join, like, what is it? Like find they've branded them nodes, like a node team or whatever, like however you want to call it. And all this means like, and now correct me if I'm wrong, it doesn't, people seem to think or act like it means anything in Upland. As far as I'm aware, it does not mean anything to Upland. It's just the name that people are like, it's a node, meaning, so when you hear like a node, it's just like, this is a collective of people that are going after a specific neighborhood, not necessarily because it's a collection, but because it's of interest to that group of people. They're going to try and buy as much of that as possible to control that neighborhood, to do development, to bring in businesses, to drive value for all of the property owners. So this is a really, and I did this for Bronx, and it ended very well for me. I think I did.
Yeah.
I'm very happy with the way it played out. I would say I'm aligned with Team TM, as it were, for my node buying habits. But there's a lot of really good teams out there that and organized node buying, and you just find one that you're interested in and go with it. What that assures you is like those neighborhoods, the ones that were targeted by these nodes, sell out super quick. So you have a couple options now. As as TM, I'm sure will attest, like as a node leader and coordinator, you don't necessarily want a bunch of bandwagon people who are just buying it up and then flipping it immediately. However, between me and you, it's not a bad strategy. Now, I have not liquidated any of my node properties from the Bronx, but man, you could easily make, when we talked about, remember, if you say you're a factor of 3, right? So let's say you buy 9 properties in a node, right? And day 1 or 2, you sell 3 of them to cover the cost of all 9. Like that's a good day's work. And that's really not hard to do. These nodes become very competitive. Their value goes up very quickly. So I would recommend buy more than you need. Don't be the person, like, honestly, like, this is more just like a personal thing, but like, don't buy 5 properties there and then sell all of them for a profit. Like, I guess you can, like, there's obviously it's, free game. You can do whatever you want. I think that like that is it's kind of shitty to the node team that's like trying to work it. Like you're just like marking up. It's like the people who buy 100 PlayStations right before Christmas and then charge all the parents extra. Like, thank you. Oh, that's a good point. TM says that gets people uninvited, which is great.
But you get uninvited, but what that also does is you can see a group of people and you're like, wait, hold on. We're already talking about, hey, they're buying out Country Club, they're buying out Throggs next. So people are pretty quick to see where there's groups working, and then they try to dive in to turn the profit. So even if you're not part of the node, soon into the buying process, they know what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, you can't stop people from that. But again, the concept here, again, from a game perspective and from a community perspective, you can do whatever you want. you can be a troll and just be like, oh, I'm just gonna like, where is TM's block explorer gonna be? I'm just gonna follow and just buy everything right next to him. Like, you could do that, I guess, but anyway, I think that's just kind of a lame way to play, in my opinion. If you're going to join a node team, join a node team. I don't think TM would be against, if you buy 30 properties and sell 10 of them. I think that's very reasonable to essentially cover the cost of owning in that node and still owning a fair chunk. I think that would be a reasonable way to play the game. You don't necessarily want to put all of your assets and then just hold, because that you can't turn that into future profits. So I think, selling a third of what you have to cover your costs is a very reasonable way to play that. So yeah, I like that. It's a lot less stress too. Like, it's very easy if you know what's happening and you're part of the team, you can get there very quickly. TM is great. We were in a voice chat in his TNA node, and it was super fun. Like, people were like, oh, I'm doing this, I'm here. And then, like, I ran out of properties to find. There's people who ran out of UpX, and so they were just like spotting properties. They're like, over here, there's some in this corner. And so we're like, it was really cool to collaborate and work together. So, if you're looking for a team aspect, do that. That's a really fun way to go into a new city, especially if you're not really sure what the landmarks are and stuff like that.
Yeah. All right. Number 4.
That's you. We got for number 4.
Yeah. I was debating a couple of things for number 4.
Okay.
Now, we'll go number 4 as, I don't know, because that's messing with your personal time. I was going to say schedule time off or schedule your break for at least the first hour of the city release. Ahead of time. Yeah,
100%, like 100%. It gets tricky because we've seen with Upland, delays, pushbacks, things like that. So be prepared for that. But I think that's a great tip for a new city. Like, and this is what I would call, we could almost put this into like, be prepared. I think, like, if we were going to put it into a top 5 tip, like number 4, be prepared. What does that mean? There's a couple things. 1, collect your interest ahead of time. Like, holy crap. I did not realize. Did you know that they block collecting interest during a city release?
Yeah.
I did not know that. And I had I didn't have too many. But I had over $1 million in interest. Like, okay, I'll collect that when I need it. Like, it's just going to be my backup. I was like, okay, I need it. And then I'm like, why is there a timer? I haven't clicked that button in a month. It was like, shit. So be prepared. Collect your interest. If you're going to buy UpX, buy it ahead of time.
Collect your sends. You don't want to go over there with like 2 sends, or you're just, because the sends don't pop up right away, and then you're just stuck.
Oh, that's gotta be a top. Be prepared. What's the max now? 12 or 13? Can you have
12 or 13? It's right there.
Like, whatever the max is. Go to a city that you have, get all your max sends, because you're gonna need it. Like, you're gonna need it. Be prepared. Optional, yeah. But I honestly take some time off. Schedule your meetings and your breaks around it if you have that flexibility. If not, don't worry too much about it. But like, it happens quick, especially if you want those high value properties, high value areas, nodes that are already being talked about in groups. Like, you really need to be there for the launch. So,
and especially with a city like LA, you definitely want to be there. Even I'd take a personal day if I can't make my time available. I'm taking a personal day for the LA launch, and I'll go figure something out. Go hide out.
Right. Yeah.
Or with the Bronx launch, I had some meetings going on, and luckily they were remote meetings, so I was able to participate and yet get to the. I wasn't able to partake in the no chat or in the voice channels, but I knew where we were going as a team and started picking up the properties, and
Yeah.
it's kind of easy to mint that way. So at least I scheduled my remote meetings availability. So
Dizzy Deuce minting. I like it.
there is always that method too. You can always go do a dizzy deuce, and but then some people might track your time, like, hey, why were you in there for 40 minutes?
Who do you work with that's tracking your shitter time?
Oh,
You got your job.
Oh, you got some people that track that, but you got some people that abuse it. You can walk in and hear this one dude snore all the time. So you just kick that. Oh, straight up.
Bob, you sleeping again? Huh? No.
No. You were snoring, man. You were snoring.
No, man.
No.
Yeah. I just got the sleepy poops. That's just the sound it makes when I poop. Sounds like snoring.
Sounds like snoring.
Yeah, it's just the sloops.
All right, number 5.
Number 5, it's gonna be corny. It's gonna be have fun. Like at the end of the day, it's a game. Like you gotta have fun with it. Like don't get stressed. Like don't get frustrated. They're still working out the kinks. It could get delayed. You're gonna have lag. Like there's things are gonna go wrong. And so my probably my number one thing is if you're gonna participate in a city launch, have fun with it. Don't be stressed. There'll be another city. If you miss out, you miss out. It sucks. There's 150,000 people trying to play this game. Like there's a limited number of properties. Like you're not gonna get everything you want. Try to find silver linings. Be happy. Like don't walk away because the thing is like you don't lose UpX. Like it's not like you're like, okay, I'm gonna try and buy this 100,000 UpX property. Oh, it's already sold. I lost 100,000. You don't lose your UpX. Again, you lose a bit of time. Sometimes you lose cents because of lag. That's my number one thing, man. Have fun.
And if you really had that, come talk to me about Cleveland.
Yeah. Don't be salty like Too Stupid in Cleveland, man. That's my biggest. Like we're all in this together. Like sure, there's always going to be bad actors and whatnot, but have fun with it. I mean, that's what we really should be here for. If we can make a little bit of money on the side, I guess that's a huge bonus. But
yes.
It's a game.
And I know I misspelled prepared. I wasn't paying attention when I was typing with one hand, but I did correct it because we got the grammar police out there. They'll see it.
I figured you'd be a little bit more proficient at typing with one hand.
You would figure by now. Yeah. No. All right. So top 5 things for a new city in no particular order. So buy up the liquidation. Take advantage of the deals that are out there. Research and target your properties. Find a node or a team to be a part of as for a city launch, and be prepared. Make sure you get your sends, and make sure that you've collected right time. You collected your UpX, and everything's ready to go.
Oh, and be prepared is make sure that you're in the city.
Yes, don't try traveling after the release happens.
Yeah, don't try and travel ahead of time. Like if it's coming out in 2 days, go sit there. It doesn't matter. Like what do you do with your day? Like you're not actively minting. You don't need, unless you're treasure hunting. Like go sit in that city until it releases. Like go sit at the train station or whatever. Like get there ahead of time.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, and then I really wanted to hit some top 5 songs about LA and play the music, but then I figured we get pulled off of YouTube the first day we're on YouTube for copyright infringements.
Yeah, you would.
So I passed that. I was really looking forward to Live and Die in LA by Tupac. That's my number 1 LA song.
I think
so. We did
Gin and Juice. Do we ever decide if Gin and Juice is LA? It feels like an LA vibe.
It does have the LA vibe. And it depends if they're going to keep Compton or Long Beach in on the LA. And I'm not sure which one's a city or which one's not a city.
Compton. Compton's near LA, eh? Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, Watts is by LA, South Central LA, Skid Row.
Damn. A lot of good stuff.
A lot of good stuff. And if everybody's available to play that day, you can get 5 properties in LA.
That's crazy to think about. Like, if everybody just showed up, if all 150,000 people were like, cool, let's go to LA, you're getting 5 properties each, and then it'll be sold out. I mean, obviously that's not going to happen.
And that's another reason to, under number 4, be prepared of traveling early, because the day of, you might not have any flights or train rides into the city.
It's facts. It happens, like legitimately happens. So
yeah,
I always, if I'm going to be there, I try to get there early for sure.
Absolutely. So that's about all we have this episode. You got anything else?
No, this is a super cool format. Thanks for setting this up. You know, for those who don't know, I mean, Too Stupid is a one-man show on all this. He does literally all the production, everything that is related to this show is entirely done by him. So kudos to you, and I appreciate you bringing us into 2022 with a cool new streaming format.
Yeah, you're welcome. And we'll make tweaks and improvements. And definitely, we are now on Twitch. We streamed on Twitter and on YouTube. So you'll see more and more stuff coming from us in content-wise in 2022, and the debauchery that follows, too. All right, everybody be safe. And until next week, have fun.
It's the Upix Podcast, baby. Glad you tuned in. Got your host, Thank Me Later, and Too Stupid to Win. Might be coming up session as soon as you begin. Start out king of the street, then lock in iconic in. Welcome to Upland. Grab your Upix, man. On your way in the door, hit you with $4 grand. Get to buying and gripping, then to selling and flipping, over to moving and shucking.